Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with EMENNE. Now, as you all know, I've been sharing a series of ideas on how we can grow our businesses. You know, how we can live a better life, how we can achieve substance out of nothing, or how we can really improve ourselves. But you know, as I've been doing it, I knew that something was missing. I knew that there was a critical element that I need to lay hold on, and I pass across to you that, so that once you grasp this information, you know, you can know that there is a definite step that you can follow and be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Now, the more I've been thinking about this for a very long time, so, see, for an average man or an average woman, what are the things he or she needs to do? So that, assuming I want to start a business, what are the things that can guarantee me success in my business? Now, the more I've been thinking about this, the more I've been sensing that there was actually a series of steps that anybody can take to transform their life. But I've not been able to lay hold of where to find this substance. So for most of you who might have been listening to some of my ideas, yes, some of them have been helpful for you, have been helpful to you. But I know you've been wondering, aren't there at least some steps that I can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I know that if I follow these steps, my life will become very good? Well, I'll say that today is a wonderful day, because today is something extraordinary, something that has never happened to me this morning. I woke up this morning with a part of the Bible ringing in my head. Now, it would have been a different thing maybe if I was thinking about this part of the Bible when I went to sleep. You can say, yes, I thought about it and woke up with it. But I woke up this morning with a part of the Bible that says, the earth was without form and void, ringing in my head. Now, a brief background of why this thing happened. Over the past 2 days, I've been attending a program called WABEG, West African Believers Conference. Now, during the course of this conference, I've been asking God to reveal to me the next level of things He wants me to start to do. And I've been asking Him, as I came back from the conference yesterday's session, I slept, and when I woke up in the morning, the thought that was dropping in my head was, the earth was without form and void. Now, as I was thinking about the earth was without form and void, I asked myself, what is it about the earth? And I said, okay, the earth was a container, because the earth contains all the living creatures and non-living creatures. But what hit me was that when God created the heavens and the earth, that the heavens and the earth was without form and void. The point now came to me, what now made this earth that was without form and void, what made it suddenly so productive? What was these things that God put inside the heaven and the earth that it suddenly becomes so productive? And in fact, the chapter 1 of the Bible, of the book of Genesis, ended with saying that God looked at this thing and suddenly looked at the earth that was without form and void and saw that it was very good. And I realized that if I could understand the things that God did to that earth that was without form and void, what were those things that God poured into an earth that had no form and was empty? Void means empty. What were those things that God poured into it and it suddenly became very productive? And this idea hit me that if you can find those things that God put inside the earth that made it very productive, that those things can make anybody also very productive. And do you know something that also hit me? It hit me that it was after God made all these things, after God had made the earth very productive, that was when He made man. And it also hit me that, you know, when God made human being, the human brain was almost empty. Because if you look at it, when God made man, it was more like putting up a new baby. If you give birth to a baby now, the baby has nothing on his head. And what occurred to me was that the human being is more like a computer. That the earth was also more like a computer when God created it. Now, if you have ever bought a computer for the first time, you know that if you buy a computer, it's almost just like an empty can. What you now need to start to do to that computer is to start to put programs into it. Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, you know, the program of the antivirus you want, and every other program. Is the program that you put inside that computer that will determine what that computer will do. It means that when a computer is produced, that computer is empty and void. You now start to pour in the necessary programs you want to use. It's those programs you put inside that container, inside that computer, that will determine how productive that computer will be. It now also hit me that our brain is more like a computer. That is what we put into our brain that will determine the results that we put out. It means that if we can find in the things that God put inside the earth that now made the earth very productive, and we start to put those same programs in our brain, that we are guaranteed to get maximum, we are guaranteed to become very good at what we do. Now, what I now decided to do as I woke up this morning, in fact, even while today is a Sunday and I had to go to church, and as I was in church, I was thinking about this thing. And when the series of programs that God put inside the earth that made this very productive hit me, I immediately rushed from church and came here to try to shoot this video to capture it so that personally I can go through them too on my own by watching this video. This video is guaranteed to change your life if you can understand the processes that I'm sharing with you today. Now, when I studied Genesis from verse 1 to the end of Genesis chapter 1, I found out 7 programs that God put inside the earth. And when I looked at man, I saw that God did not put anything in man. God just asked him, go and be fruitful and multiply. But God did not tell him specifically what to do to be fruitful and multiply. And I realized that, see, if I can find out what God did between Genesis chapter 1 till the creation of man, that I can find out what it takes to be very fruitful and multiply successfully, and so that anybody who looks at us can say, this guy is very good. Because when God looked at everything I created, he said, this is very good. And luckily, 7 programs that God poured inside the earth came to me. And I realized that if I can understand the basis of these programs, and I put inside myself, and I also put inside any human being, that I'm guaranteed to get very wonderful result out of that human being. So what I want to do with us today is to share the 7 programs that God put inside the earth. Because, I used to think that God created almost everything. But what the revelation that I got today was that God just created the heavens and the earth. The next thing, if you read the Bible, take out time to read the Genesis from chapter 1 from the beginning to the end, you find out that God created only 2 things. God said, God created the heavens and the earth, 1. And God now said, let us make man. And God created man. Those were the only 2 things that God created. Every other thing was God saying. God said, let there be, let there be. It means that, as he said, he was putting inside the earth. God was putting a series of programs inside the earth that started to generate results. That started to produce everything that we are seeing. And it was these things that God wants us to now look at when he asked us to be fruitful and multiply. He wanted us to look at the series of things he did from after he created the world and started to program the world to the point he looked at and said, this is very good. Luckily for me, by divine inspiration, I've been able to find out the 7 things that God will put inside the earth. The 7 programs that God put inside the earth that is producing massive results in those who have discovered it. So I want to list the 7 programs. This first program is a program for insight. That is a program for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Now look at it in Genesis chapter 1. It says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. The first program that God put inside the earth was light, wisdom, insight. It means that for you to be very successful, if you determine to be very good at what you do, the first thing you must start to acquire is wisdom. The first thing you must start to acquire is knowledge. The first thing you must start to acquire is understanding. These are the basic programs that you must start to pour inside your brain starting today. Start now to read massively. Start to attend seminars. Start to watch videos of trainings. The first program that God put inside the earth to make it very productive was light. Light of understanding, light of knowledge, light of insight. If you can get this first program into your brain, I can tell you that you'll be good at what you do. The next program that God put inside the earth to make it very productive was a foundational principle. If you look at it too, the next thing that said, then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the water, and let it divide the waters from the waters. A firmament means the foundation. The next thing that God did was God set a foundation. it means that after you have decided to acquire wisdom, the next thing you must do is to set out some foundational principles that you run your life with. A few months back, I was reading about a man called Benjamin. He's one of the greatest American inventors. And he said that when he was traveling he decided to come to America to build, he was one of the founding fathers of America, Benjamin Franklin. That when he was traveling back from Britain to America, that on the ship, he wrote out the fundamental principle that he was going to run the rest of his life with. That is these fundamental principles that he stood until he died, and these things made him very successful. And the more I looked at it, I also have, if you read about Warren Buffett, he said that he has laid down some fundamental principles that he will use to run his business. This is the guiding principles in all investments he's going to make. This now shows me that for me to be very successful in life, if I want to be very good, I need to lay out some fundamental principles that is going to guide me for the rest of my life. There are some foundational truths upon which you must set your life. The foundational truths about living a life of substance. Fundamental truth that I must tell the truth at every particular point. Fundamental truth about that anything I set myself to do, I must finish it. You must set out, these are the guiding line, these are the guiding principles. These are the things that once somebody say that, if they say that I did this, people can say, even if they were not there, they say, no, this guy cannot do this. The foundational principles that you must set are things that you want to be known for. These are the guiding lights that you want to lead the rest of your life with. That is the second program that you must put inside you. That is the second program that God put inside the earth that made it very good, made it good. The next set of program that you must key into is you must get a program for structure, organization, and order. Now look again at the next thing that God did. He said, then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the water he called seas. You must start to set out structures in your life. You must start to put organizations in place in your life. You must start to put order in place. If you don't have structures in your life, if you don't have organization, if you don't have order in your life, there's no way you can be very good at your life. You know, I think this is one of the major areas too that have been falling short. I found out that I've not really put out enough structures, and maybe that is part of the reason why my program has not moved forward the way it's supposed to be moved. And that is one of the things I've set out to start to do from today. I'll pick up a book and start to write out the structures of my life and of my organization that I'm building now. It's more like writing a business plan. Do you have a business plan for your life? What God did was to set up order within the earth that he was creating. That is the third program that you must key into your life. The next program that you must get into your life is how to run a simple productive system. That is the next program you must get into your brain. Because the Bible tells that, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, herbs that yield seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruits, according to its kinds. Simple things, herbs, fruit. Start to look at yourself and ask yourself, which area of life can I get very productive at? You must identify the areas, those areas you are passionate about, those things that you know you can do easily, and you must start to get very productive at them. Start to say, for me personally, I know I can talk. So part of the things I do is that I have started to get very productive in the area of inspiring people. I know I can solve business problems. So I've started to focus on those core areas. So look around you and ask yourself, what are these areas that I'm very good at? And now start to become very productive at them. Start to program your mind to say, in this area, I must be the best at this area. For me personally, I've told myself that in the next 10 years, I'll become the most inspiring Nigerian speaker. So I'm programming my mind to start to build itself to become the most inspiring Nigerian speaker. Those are the areas you too must start to work on. That is the next program you must start to build into your brain. Find out an area you are good at and tell yourself that I want to become the best in this particular area. That is the fourth program that God put inside the earth. The fifth program that God put inside the earth was a program for time management. Because the next thing that God did was, he said, then God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light on the earth. God created time. The next thing you must start to do is time management. Until I understood that time management was a program that we need to put inside our head, I never knew that this was a major thing that was holding me back. It means that once you don't get the programming of time management into your brain and start to work with time, you start to manage your time effectively, it will be very difficult for you to get good at what you do. So if you want to be good at what you do, you need to understand that you need to know that you must understand time management. You need to take out time to study time management and start to put time management inside your brain. Put the programming about time management inside your brain. Let your 2 o'clock start to be 2 o'clock. Let you say, I'll deliver this thing tomorrow. By when that some person comes tomorrow, let that person get that thing from you. How many times have you gone to the average Nigerian worker and said, I'll deliver this thing by tomorrow for you? By tomorrow, if you go there, will you get that thing? You know, in Nigeria, there's a tendency for us to say, if you want to get result, give that job to somebody from other West African countries, like people from Ghana and from Togo. Because these are people that once they say they can deliver this, they will do it for you. And that is why certain jobs now have been moving to people from this area. Because these people are building the programming of time management inside their brain, that once they tell you that I will deliver at this time, they deliver at that particular time. Do you have the programming about time management in your brain? If you don't, start to work on it. Start to tell yourself, let my 5 o'clock henceforth must be 5 o'clock. If you start to do this, you start to get very good at what you do. You will know that once you set a time, that you have set this deadline, I will definitely work with that deadline. There is nothing that boosts productivity as somebody who sets a deadline and start to work aggressively towards achieving that deadline. Jesus set a target of 3 years, and within that 3 years, he did something that was able to transform the world. If you start to manage your time, start to work aggressively with this program of time management, you'll be amazed at how your life will be transformed. You'll be amazed at the results you can achieve. You know, over the past few months, I started something that I did not see how significant it was. Every day as I woke up, one of the first things I always did was to write out the things I was going to do for the day. And I noticed something amazing that started to happen to my life. That any day I wrote out the series of things I wanted to do and I faced them, I found out I was much productive on those particular days. And other days that I said, okay, these are the things I was going to do and I did not write them down, I found out I was less productive on those days. If you can do this, you too can start to find that you are getting very good, better and better at what you are doing. Now the next set of programs that God also included in us is in the earth, that he wants us to learn from the earth as he has asking us to go and be productive and be fruitful and multiply, is that you need to get a programming for environmental productivity and multiplication. Look at the next thing that God did. Then it said, then God said, let the waters abound with abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth, across the face of earth. So God created God started to make the environment to become very productive. It means that the next program you need to key into yourself is a program that puts you in areas that are very productive. There was a study that was done by a university, and it was found out that people who grew in a poor environment and remain in a poor environment have a 99% probability of being poor. And it was found out that if you look at the life of your 5 closest friends, that your life over the next 5 years is a summary of their their lives. It means the program you need to get in your brain now is a program that helps you identify an environment that is productive and attracts you to that area. You need to consciously start to study your environment and ask yourself, this environment that I'm operating, this environment where I always relax, this environment where I go to work, this environment where I go to study, how productive in that environment? The people around me, how productive are they? If you don't surround yourself in an environment that is very productive, no matter how productive you are, it will shut you down. You must get a program into your brain that gets you to identify areas that are productive and you move yourself to that environment. This is the next set of programs that you must get into your brain. Now, the next set of programs that you also must get into your brain is a program for complex productivity and multiplication. The first thing that you did was how to produce with your own ideas. How to, produce yours. The next thing that you now must start to do is how now to become productive with complex systems. Look at the next thing that God did. Because, see, man was formed out of the earth. Now, if man was formed out of the earth and God has made the earth productive, God had did a series of things in the earth. It means that when God created man, God expected man to go and study the earth and study the things he did to earth that made the earth very productive. So look at the next thing that God did out of the earth again. God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to his kind, cattle, creeping things, beasts of the earth, and according to his kind. And so it was. God said to create complex system. It means that what you now need to start to do, put into your brain, the next program you must put into your brain is, what does it take to run a complex organization? One of the things I always ask people is that, assuming you are given 500 million, do you know what to do so as to double that 500 million? But say what will happen to the average human being. If what you have been handling before has been 5 million, if you are given 500 million, what you start to do is that you start to waste it until you get to about 5 to 10 million, which is the capacity that your brain can handle. It means that though you have learned how to increase your productivity in your area of talent and skills, in the area of your gifting, you must start to build yourself on how to handle a complex organization, which was the next thing that God did. By now, after the earth had brought out the plants and vegetables, which are very simple, the next thing was the earth started to bring out complex systems, the animals. You also need to put inside your brain now, start to pull inside your brain whatever it takes to run a multi-million naira organization. Start now to, read books of the great people, very successful business people, what they've been doing, so that you start to get these things inside your brain. You must get these 7 programs inside your brain. I've been doing this thing because I know that inside these things, these 7 programs that God poured inside the earth, look at what God did after he had poured these 7 programs inside the earth. And he said, then God saw everything that he had made, and he did, it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the 6th day. When God saw all this program he has put inside the earth, and the result that the earth was starting to produce with the program, God said that, after every program, what God will say is good. After every program, God will say is good. But when you look at all the 7 programs together, God said that this is very good. What this tells me is that if you can put the programs of insight, if you start to acquire wisdom, start to acquire knowledge and understanding, you'll be good. If you start to get the program of the fundamental principles with which you guide your life for the rest of your life, you start to be good. If you can get the program on how to put structure, organization, and order inside your life, you'll be good. if you have to start to learn how to put simple productivity, how to turn your ideas into products that people can value, how to get more, those ideas, those concepts, how to start to produce them, the more you become good. If you can start to learn how to manage your time, you become good. If you can learn how to put yourself in an environment that is productive and multiplies its result, you'll be good. If you can learn how to turn out simple things if you can learn how to manage complex ideas, complex organization, complex things, and you can learn to do these 7 things, you will start to look at yourself and say the same thing that God said. IFEANYI or OK or Ahmed or Abdullahi, you are very good. God has laid out the fundamental principles that He wants us to work with. You too can transform your life if you start to work with this simple fundamental principle. Now, what I've tried to do is these 7 principles will henceforth guide my trainings and my teaching. I believe that if I can teach people on how to get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, if I can teach people how to find the fundamental principles that can guide their life, if I can start to teach people on how to turn their ideas into things that people will value and pay for, if I can start to teach people on how to become better at time management, if I can start to teach people on how to move themselves in an environment that is productive, because it's your environment that you become what you are. If I can start to get people on how to teach people on how to manage complex ideas so that they can now manage a multi-million naira organization, that they now can look at themselves and say, yes, I am very good at what I do. And people outside too can look at them and say, this man is very good at what he does. This woman is very good at what she does. I hope I've been able to pass across to you some concepts, the core concept that can guide you in becoming very productive at what you do. I hope you have learned something. Now, one of the things that I also want to do is, God has been dropping in my heart to share these ideas to people, because a lot of Nigerians are passing through difficult times. Now, the more I've been putting these ideas out, the more I've been putting it on other social media, all social media, the more people have been calling me about the impact this has been making in their life. Over the past 2 years, I've invested close to 1 million naira in getting books and in getting videos like this out to you, to people like you. So, I've reached a stage whereby I feel that Nigerians, we need to come together to help to build our nation by making this program available to as much people as possible. So for those of you who feel you want to be a part of this, no matter the amount of contribution you want to make, so that we can at least, on the average, I spend about $100 every 2 weeks on this program. And this $100 helps at least this video to reach about close to 20 to 30,000 people. Now, but I believe that if we can pull our resources together and contribute to help let this program, this message get out to more Nigerians, that will be able to reach at least 1 million Nigerians. So I want to ask if there's any contribution you want to make to help this program reach more people, so that we can, run more, promote this, advertise this program more, so that more Nigerians can watch it. Then you can just call me on 080-2362-2171. And for whatever contribution you make, you also get free copies of my book, The Strangest Financial Secrets and the King's Secret Code for Success. It's time for us to try to save this nation, Nigeria. It's time for us to join our hands together to do something about our great nation, so that we can unite to move this nation forward. This nation can be saved by us and not by outsiders. We have what it takes to move our country. We have what it takes to make this country better. And I pray that the Lord will touch our heart. I pray that the Lord will bless you, that the ideas that you have put in, that God has dropped inside you from this program, will transform your life. And I pray that wisdom and understanding will be imparted inside your heart. I pray that you get insights that God wants you to get, that as you live today, something dramatic will start to happen inside your heart. But I also want to conclude by saying something. At the Feast of Cana, when Jesus went to Cana, when the wine finished, And Mary came to Jesus, said their wine had finished. Jesus asked them, it's not my time. Why do you expect me to do something? Mary said something that I want to repeat to you. Mary said to the servant, whatever he asks you to do, do it. I want to repeat to you that as you've been listening to this message today, that there are ideas that God has been dropping into your heart. And what I want to tell you that whatever idea, whatever concept that God has dropped inside your heart today, whatever he has asked you to do, do it. And may the Lord bless his words in our hearts. Thank you for listening, and God bless us.